The perception of a black male, interesting question. It's culture, masculinity, strong, angry, ghetto.
There's very much this alpha male energy when oftentimes I guess people think of the black male, and some people even go as far as putting them into boxes where we label them as thugs, or and so oftentimes I feel there's a power, but then the power is then tainted with something negative.
I feel like the perception of the black male is that we're seen as quite unreasonable and aggressive people. I also feel like we're seen in the sense in which we kind of lack priorities and responsibilities.
I believe in society is, I guess, a bit of a nuisance.
I think they're perceived to be dangerous. I think they're perceived to be a threat, and I think they're also perceived to be criminals and just basically anything negative.
It's a shame really, because you go on what you see in the news, because that's all you wake up and the news is on. You're fed all of this stuff on Facebook, on Instagram, and it just seems like black people are a burden when that's how it kind of seems.
But for me, the perception of a black man is a strong man, a determined man, a man that faces all different trials and tribulations from all walks of society, but they do need support.
I personally feel like this perception comes from how we're portrayed in the media. Whether that be on TV or in the local newspaper, I feel like we're constantly being shown in a bad light.
So I think it may come from self-fulfilling prophecy. So let's say you're told that you're angry, you're told that you're masculine, and perhaps you then become what you're shown.
I think their perception of the black male comes often, and I believe, from fear.
The perception comes from, I guess, uneducation.
And I think it just goes all the way back to slavery.
There's a lot of education out there, but unfortunately there's only one narrative. And I think that's where some of the negative and positive come from.
The BLM movement in 2020 has definitely shifted a lot of perceptions, not just those two. I mean, personally, I learned so much in the BLM movement. I know that all my friends have learned so much. It's opened such a huge door.
To a degree, yes. I think that a lot of people now have seen us as a black community come together and start to stand up for things that are right. But to an extent, no. I feel like also with the Black Lives Matter movement, how the media portrayed it is they kind of made it come across more as rioting instead of protesting.
I think it's definitely opened up people's eyes, realizing that we are not a species, we are human. I feel like it's definitely brought a new education to some people and also an awareness.
Beyond the discussion of where we are now and where we are heading, it's also about when we look at our community as a whole, not in sections, as a whole, there's a lot of unearthing that needs to happen. And I feel like from last year, it's like we just got ourselves the onion. We can see the onion, we need to start peeling those layers off.
I think it has, but I do think it has its pros and cons. I think there are people that are more understanding, their eyes have been opened, and there are people that are willing to join the movement and do something about it. But then there's also people that exploit it, they also politicize it, and they also are trying to get monetary gain out of it. So
it's opened up a world of the issues in society, and it's kind of given it the limelight it needs, because it for years and years it's been pushed under. It's kind of just been like dripping. Everyone's been drip fed like this issue, but BLM has just opened the floodgates.
But it's just opened up a whole new conversation and communication, and I think that's a good thing.
One way to move forward is just the whole social media thing with like spreading awareness, I feel like that's really key. Like we need to keep up with that, and whether that be more protests, peaceful protests, may I add, I feel like we just need to constantly have a voice and make sure that we're heard.
I think now we are in a really powerful place. I think we're in a space where we can be heard and we can also be seen. We've always been here to be seen, but I think people are now looking and realizing that we are whole.
So currently I think we're just at the tip of the iceberg. There's still a lot of things that need to be addressed. I don't believe, like especially not in our generation, everything's going to be fixed. But I believe that like 99% of things that are wrong will be eradicated, and hopefully all the negative connotations towards black people are completely kind of like wiped out.